All right, we are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris, and this is my channel, Bar911970. As always, I want to thank you all for taking the time to listen to my videos, and I want to talk some common sense. So hopefully there are people out there that can at least have the ability to listen before judgment. One of the things I'm noticing these days is people are so divided that people are now unwilling to even communicate with one another, and that is not going to help anybody. So we need to really start learning how, again, to listen to alternative points of view, have a counter argument, and discuss it so we can both learn, because you can actually learn more sometimes from your enemies than you can your friends. And sometimes criticism is not always wrong, and sometimes praise is not always right. So I want to talk a little bit about immigration, and I'm only going to talk about the country that I live in, the United States of America Corporation. And if you don't know what I mean by United States of America Corporation, and you're new to my channel, I would highly recommend one of my videos that is basically been stifled by YouTube. It's called The Truth of the United States, Law and You. I would recommend the extended version. It's 90 minutes of eye-awakening, red-pilling information that you can verify. But I want to talk about illegal immigration, and I want to have it in a way that talks logically. Now, you either have to be for something 100% or against something 100%. Now, I'm not saying for you which way you should go. That's based on you. But the reason I say it's 100% is you cannot have a certain ideal and then allow certain things that are the opposite of that ideal to slip through just to keep your agenda, because then it doesn't hold water. So I want to ask you this. How many of you, whether you own your own home, rent your own home, or live in somebody else's home, how many of you have locks on your doors? I would assume every one of you, whether you live with your parents, whether you have your own house or whatever, have or have had locks on your door. Makes sense. Now, there is a reason why people have to either ring the doorbell or knock on the door to enter your home. Because you don't want just anybody to come into your house, I would assume. You wouldn't want some stranger you don't know to not only just enter your house without your permission, but to use and take the things that you worked hard for. I'm assuming that people will agree with that. Now, the reason that people knock and ring doorbells is because you, the homeowner, make the choice of who or who cannot enter your home. Now, that doesn't make you racist. It doesn't make you sexist. It doesn't make you homophobic. If somebody that you don't know knocks on your door and you say they are not allowed in, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, let's go with immigration. Now, there's a big thing that they like to kind of manipulate. Now, if you live in the United States of America Corporation, unless you are a Native American Indian, you are an immigrant. My heritage is Irish, English, and Italian. So I'm an immigrant. So for me to sit here and say I'm against immigration would be foolish, because my family came here, and I'm sure most of your families came here from another country. So I'm not talking about immigration as far as we need to close the borders and not allow anybody in. But what I'm saying is, and this should be common sense, it should be done in a legal process. In other words, somebody applies for citizenship. They have to wait whatever amount of time. They have to pay whatever fees, whether you like it or not. I mean, it's like a membership. You know, if you join a gym, they don't give it to you for free. You have to pay a membership. So I'm okay with stuff like that, provided the monies go towards helping people, not just putting it in pockets of other people. But that's debatable and arguable. But what I'm saying is people should go through a process to where it is done where they can vent people. In other words, you wouldn't let a criminal in your house, especially one you didn't know. I mean, if you have a family member that went to prison or something, that's a different story. That's your choice. But if somebody knocked on the door that you've never seen before and says, "Hi, I'm a criminal. I would like to move into your house," you would probably have to be clinically insane to say, "Okay, come on in." So what most people are saying, and what I would agree with, is if you are somebody coming from another country, what is so wrong with saying, okay, I have to go through a process. I have to make sure that I'm verified. I have to wait in line. I have to not cut the line from other people that are doing things legally. Because let me ask you something. What do you think you would do if you came home and you found some stranger living in your house, eating your food, driving your car, wearing your clothes? You wouldn't sit there and say, oh, it's okay. So if you are one of those people that says anybody should be able to go into any country no matter how they do it, then you should have no doors in your home, or at least no locked doors. Allow people to enter your home at any time, use your bed, use your clothes, eat your food, drive your car, and take all your stuff that you worked hard for to get. But I guarantee you, if you think logically, no one would do that. You would call the police. You would probably, at the very least, try and make the people leave. There's a reason why we have locks on our doors. That does not make you homophobic. That does not make you sexist. It does not make you a racist if you don't want somebody to just enter your home and take all of the things that you've worked hard for. So think of it from a country's viewpoint. Whether you like it or not, we pay taxes. Okay? Those taxes are supposed to, in theory, pay for bridges and schools and roads and repairs and pocketing the pockets of politicians and other things, but that's not supposed to be what it's for, but that's what most of it's used for. But if all of a sudden people just enter a country, any country, illegally, and they start benefiting from the things that we pay for, that's just like somebody entering your house and eating your food and wearing your clothes, taking your TV, using your phone while you pay for the bills. You're not going to like that. So the media will tell you if you're against immigration, that means you're against all immigration. No. I am against anyone illegally coming into a country and using services they did not work for that other people are paying for. Just like I would not want somebody entering my house and taking my stuff that I worked for. I mean, would any of you, no matter if you're a Democrat, Republican, or you live in some other country and you have another point of view, whether you're socialist, fascist, whatever, would you let some stranger walk into your house and eat all your food and, bathe your children, drive your car, sell your TV, break your cell phone, and you have to pay for it all? Would you honestly do that? So all the hypocrites in Hollywood, for example, that are saying, oh yeah, just let anybody in and they don't have to be vented and oh, they're just whatever. Well, why do they have armed security guards? Why do they live in gated communities? Why don't they open their doors and take off the locks and allow people to live in their houses and in their mansions? You notice they don't do that. It's the old do as I say, not as I do. So you cannot say you're for something and then be against it when it applies to you. And that is where being consistent matters. Because I wouldn't let some stranger I don't know into my house and use all of my things that I have to pay for and they could just freeload and do whatever they want. This as the same as I wouldn't want somebody coming into the country that I live in and do the very same thing. Now, I get to choose who comes into my house. And I get to defend myself against those who come in against my will. And I'm certainly sure that you have that right as well. So it's the same thing with the country. Because let me ask you this. What do you think would happen to you if you illegally snuck into China, snuck into North Vietnam, snuck into North Korea, snuck into Iran, or any of those other places? What do you think would happen to you if you snuck in illegally and got caught? Many of those places, you'd probably disappear. Here, whether you like it or not, because even in the Obama administration, they separated families. And now it sounds like a media wonderful thing. Oh, how cruel is that? They separate families. Let me ask you something. If you are in a car with your children and you did something that you get arrested for, do they take your children to jail with you? No, they separate them. So they've taken common sense situations and they turned it into something that it's not. Now, that's not to say there are not a few bad apples in the system. I mean, anybody that thinks any of the systems, whether you're for something or against something, is 100% pure, you got your head in your sand. And that's why I am not a Democrat or a Republican, because I can have all sides of the viewpoint. I believe in the right to bear arms, but I also am against abortion. I am against the hunting of animals. I am on all different sides, but I'm on the side of common sense. And I think we're losing that in this world to the point where they divide everything so much that everybody's going to argue over everything on every side. And you have to have a free, opened mind. And if you're unable to do that, you're actually volunteering your freedoms away. Because remember, during this election, whether you are Democrat or Republican or independent, all of these politicians have something in common. They are all millionaires. They are all wealthy. Even Donald Trump, if you think Donald Trump got all his wealth by being a 100% ethical and, honest person, you're kidding yourself. And the one thing that we're all forgetting these days is, by your deeds you shall know them. Divide and conquer has been one of the biggest tools for thousands of years on how a smaller army can affect a larger army. And it doesn't have to be armies with guns. They have us, thanks to the media, thanks to schools, thanks to an agenda on all social media, they are making all of us fight each other instead of having logic and common sense. Now, you could hate me personally, and that's perfectly fine. You have the right to a judgment. If you want to judge somebody, you have the right to not like somebody. But can you dispute my facts that I have brought before you in this video? Can you say what I've said is out of comprehension or ridiculous? Unless you are extreme, I would doubt most of you would say that what I said makes sense. And yet we don't want common sense anymore, because I would be called a racist for not wanting people to illegally come into a country that we pay taxes for to benefit off of the fruit of our labor. Just like I would not want somebody coming into my house that I don't want in my house. I don't care what color they are. Color has nothing to do with it. I don't care if a black person enters my house or a white person enters my house, if a gay person enters my house or a straight person enters my house, if a male enters my house or a female enters my house. If they were not invited and I do not want them in, I am going to do everything in my power to get them out. That doesn't make me sexist, homophobic, racist, or anything. Just like you have the right to do that as well. So if you apply it, as they say, as above, so below. In other words, you'll see similarities to different things. Either you are consistent with your ideals, or you're inconsistent and you pick and choose what fits your narrative, and you forget the very things that go against it, and you dismiss it. That's not how things work. And you do not have a strong argument if you can pick and choose and leave out certain parts of an equation for it to fit your narrative. And that's what's happening these days, especially in the media. They pick and choose their fights to create a narrative and eliminate common sense. And we don't have that anymore. Whether you like this country or no matter where you are in the world, you should like the fact that everybody should have the right to be free. Everybody should have the right to have their own decisions. You have the right to hate broccoli. Somebody else has the right to love broccoli, but neither one has the right to dictate what the other one should or should not do. And that should be applied to everything in life. You are allowed to hate whoever you want, but you're not allowed to hurt somebody because of that hatred. And I said it before and I'll say it again. I do not agree with the gay lifestyle, but I have friends that are gay. I've actually DJ'd. The only DJing I ever did at a wedding was 2 gay weddings. I don't have a problem with somebody else does. And I will never stop somebody or hurt somebody because they choose to be gay. but I don't have to agree with it. I don't even have to like it. I lived next door when I lived in New York that was a gay lesbian couple next door to me for 10 years. Never had a problem with them. Every time I saw them, I said hello. But I didn't agree with their lifestyle. Does that make me a hater? Does that make me sexist or homophobic? Or is it just my right to an opinion? But I didn't infringe on their rights. And that's where people need to really start to think about the direction they're headed in this world. Like it or not, people cannot like you. But once you overstep the boundaries and you cause harm or restrict somebody else from their freedom, eventually somebody's going to restrict your freedom. That's not the direction we want to head. So people are afraid to speak their own minds for fear of being ganged up on. Eventually everybody gets silenced. So like I said, you don't have to like me. And right now, 30 people are watching, 11 people have liked it. I have over 47,000 subscribers, and I lose about 70 to 80 subscribers a month, thanks to YouTube. Or maybe it's because people don't like my message, and that's fine. But my things that I talk about, I never tell anybody how to think. I never say, if you think another way, you're wrong. I will have a problem with you if all you do is insult me. I will have a problem if you have a point of view that you cannot stand by or stand and back up, or you're somebody that picks and chooses what part of your agenda is okay. Either you're 100% for something and you can see somebody on your side and see the negative faults on them and know that it's okay, or you could be somebody that's going to have their blinders on and only see what they want to see, only think about what they want to think, only hear what they want to hear. Anybody that thinks, for example, Trump is been sent by God, I'm sorry, he is no angel. He is a better choice, in my opinion. But make no mistake, it is a corrupt system. Send a Girl Scout into the mafia and see how quickly that Girl Scout gets murdered or disappears. You want to change the system, you have to recognize the corruption in the system on all parties. And that's why I've even said with the whole fake news thing, I've been saying that on my channel since I started it, way before Donald Trump was even considered a presidential candidate. But yet, I don't trust Fox News either. When you're awake, you either need to be fully awake or not awake at all. Because if you do something half you know what, that's the results you're going to get. So I'm allowed to not like something, but I don't stop somebody else from having the ability to like what I like. And that's what people don't seem to understand anymore. If you are gay, that is wonderful. I hope you enjoy your life. I hope you live it to the happiest it makes you. And I hope your partner does the same. But I don't have to agree with it. I don't have to condone it. But I will never stop you. Just because I think of something in a different way does not mean I will prevent you or harm you in any way. And yet you see a lot of people these days wearing the masks, which is convenient these days anyway. Notice I don't wear masks, and I still won't. That are trying to force other people to think the way they do, and if they don't, violence erupts. That is wrong. And anybody that finds it acceptable, better hope that one day a mob doesn't come for you. Because when you stand for the wrong side of honor and truth and integrity, eventually the people that supported you may turn against you for something you've done or something you've said that you thought was perfectly fine. That to me is not a human world that I want to live in. That's not humanity. We need to start living with integrity, which means we question even those we support. I don't ever want anybody to just be a yes man on my channel and just agree with everything I say. If you want to disagree, that's fine. But if you can only do it by name calling or insulting or making up stories that are unfounded, then you hold no argument to me. If you truly believe in your convictions, you will stand proud. That's why I put myself on camera. I don't hide behind some channel that you have no idea who I am, because I stand for my convictions and I face it regardless of how many people will insult me or disappear or disagree. At least I can say I stood up for my convictions. People need to do that. Notice I don't have to be violent. Notice I don't tell anybody to burn down buildings. Yes, I believe in gun rights, but I believe in them to protect yourself, not to cause harm to others. Does that make me perfect? Absolutely not. Nobody in this world is perfect. But I at least accept my flaws and my limitations, know what they are, deep down inside, make sure I look within myself and find the best traits that I can possibly have and do the best that I can with as much integrity and honor as I can. That means I will make mistakes. That means there will be times I will be dishonest if there comes a situation. Know thyself, be true to thyself. If you a human being that can do no wrong and you display that on a YouTube channel, well, the only person you're hurting is yourself. But if you look at all my videos throughout all my years, values and my principles, you may not always agree with them. You may change them from time to time, but you will notice I don't just flip-flop the different agendas just to make sure I'm popular on YouTube. And I don't care how many people watch. I appreciate those that do, the ones with the common sense, but it seems like those are smaller and smaller amounts of people every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year, every single decade, every single millennium. And that's why they say it's lonely at the top. And that's why, regardless of how the world will be, I will always be just as successful enough to make sure I always survive and always get through. I will have my ups and downs. There will be days I will feel happy. There will be days I feel sad. There will be days I don't want to be on this earth anymore, and I'm okay with that. That doesn't make me irrational. It makes me human. And if you deny who you truly are, is it any wonder you're not who you want to be? And as you notice, this video started out about illegal immigration, and I go on a whole nother tangent. That's what my videos are all about. Not many people will be able to see this. Not many people that see it are going to listen to it, and not many people that listen to it are going to care or agree. But I don't worry about that. I am true to myself, and I portray that to those who it resonates with. And if that's one person, that's wonderful. If it's a million, well, that's a shocker. But if the fact that I am straightforward, I don't cut up videos to make them look pretty, I don't try and make myself look like some supermodel, I don't cut up videos to edit out anything that I say, I don't try and placate my audience by telling them what they want to hear. I am myself. People will resonate with that or not. I do not hide, I do not edit my videos, I do not try and spam people with clickbait trying to get everybody into view. And the worst thing I could say I do is this. I'll show you. Show a couple of the stray kittens that I take care of 3 times a day, every day, that will follow me everywhere I go. Be true to yourself. Think logically. Think from all sides. And if you are going to be a part of something, be 100% in. Otherwise, don't be surprised at what you're seeing in the world. There's nothing but division, nothing but hatred. People are afraid to listen to each other. They will not engage in conversation. And if you think another way, then you're wrong. And somebody has to violently stop you. That's not a world I want to live in. And yes, this video will automatically be flagged by YouTube. It will be demonetized. And that's one of the reasons why I ask people to check my descriptions and maybe sign up for the cashback program or become a Patreon member, because YouTube has literally stolen thousands upon thousands of dollars from me, from YouTube revenue, by hiding my channel. Now look at this. This is a stray cat. This cat has no home, but he has a home here. And you notice when they lie on their back, that means they trust somebody. So this cat, who's a stray cat, and there are many around here that I take care of, is not some feral cat that hisses and bites and scratches. As a matter of fact, this stray cat, give me a second, will allow me to hold him, not growl, not try and bite, That should show everything you need to know about what type of person that I try to be. I try and be kind. I try and be helpful. I try and be considerate. I try and be honest. That doesn't mean I'm honest every single second of the day. It doesn't mean I'm, you know, wearing halos and angel wings. I make my mistakes. I do things wrong from time to time, but I try and live my life as true as I can. And there will be people that'll make judgments and assumptions, and they'll do things, and that's fine. Anybody that wants to judge me that doesn't know me is just doing that, assuming. Wildcats are not going to lay on their back and allow me to pet their belly if I am cruel and mean and unjust. And I love all of these animals, and that's why I spend 3 times a day, 7 days a week, taking care of them. They have little houses, little cat mats that we leave out for them. We leave a space that they can crawl in and sleep in under our basement. I wish I could take them all in. Be good to people. Listen to people. And if you have a belief, stand up for it. If you're afraid to stand up for your convictions, then how much do you really believe in them? It should not be the masses that dictate your belief system. It should be you and you alone, and those who resonate with you. If you have to convince people, notice I don't have to convince people or threaten people or bribe people. You either resonate with what I say or you don't. Don't you wish your schools that teach your children and the media and the politicians would give you that same respect? You don't see that anymore. You see places like Black Lives Matter and Antifa who use fascist ability to silence people, who destroy people's homes and rob stores for justification. Last time I checked, I was brought up to realize that two wrongs don't make a right. But we don't hear that anymore. But you know what? You're responsible for common sense. You can't base your whole life on what somebody else tells you, including me. It's never wrong to listen to other people's advice. But if you only listen to one side, you hear half the story. Sometimes you have to hear all sides so you can make your own conclusion. And if you make your own conclusion based on the masses because you feel more comfortable with everybody agreeing with you, then you're not standing for your convictions, you're just following somebody else's lead. So either be a leader or be a follower. Or as they say, lead, follower, get out of the way. So it's another long video that many people will not see, many people will not comment on. It will be demonetized. Many people will not agree. I will have to delete a spam or two of ridiculous comments, and I'm okay with that. Notice the worst I will do to you is delete your comment. I won't come to hurt you. I won't steal from you. I won't dox you. I won't put out your private information. I won't wish death upon you. I will just delete your comment if you're nasty and rude. So if that's the worst part about me, I'm very proud of who I am. Let me ask you, with all the things you do and do not do, are you proud of you and what you're doing? Are you looking the other way because it's easier? Are you not standing up for your convictions so you don't rock the boat? Are you being violent to get your way? Are you ganging up to hurt others? Are you using the gang to support your viewpoint? Are you afraid to stand up for your convictions? These are things you have to answer to yourself, and you could ignore them. It's very easy to do that. It takes true strength to man up or woman up or whatever, stand up for your belief system. So here I am exposed to the world, allowing the world to judge me for who I am, and I don't care. But the one thing they cannot say is I am trying to influence people through force or through manipulation. And that's the way the world should be. So you either be a part of that or you sit back and allow the world to be stolen from you. But if that's the case, if you're too afraid to stand up for your convictions, and again, doing it peacefully, then one day you will have no ability to do so and you give up your right to complain. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.